Kajing pluk ki klau, kajing shleung, hashibun ki jaka, kajing kenyu jumai, kajing rang terkong, malay kini ki wanjia, ka jubab kabangiyo na ka sorkar batnya ki mainstream media kolong.
Climate change.
Climate change.
Climate change.
Climate change.
Climate change.
Climate change.
Climate change. Climate crisis.
Climate change.
Climate change.
Warming climate. Climate crisis.
Climate change. Climate change.
Climate change.
Climate change.
Aba kumta, yanongin keno, baro kadai na kadau jongi kun benriuhi uba penjot ya kamariang ka jingrah spa ka penong yaki bakin pompotar yaki diang kisiet ki tang yaki klau ki betap bat ka bakam cerkai para kalong ba ki penum no ya ki lum tha kenang bakin yo mansai ya ki umpenyang bat ki wepat ki mar pokndo ki badan ha kini ki lum tha ka ktien jong blai kalam maham yaki to ki ba penjot ya ka pertai na ka kitab jing pun pau kalong ka bakat wai kad kod ka bakat para ko ong ba un penjot no ya uta uba penjot ya ka pertai ha kini ki sngi ladangi paj ha ki news ki ong ba ka jingklut nang ni shakman kan nang jur.
Weather to climate change, these wildfires, floods, tornadoes, drought, landslides, heat waves, they're all man-made disasters. They will become more frequent in the days to come.
Perkila ya thulu paru ba ka next pandemic kan dai ka jing terkong na ka daw jong ka jing nang ya kiyo kan ka jingklut.
Drought is on the verge of becoming the next pandemic, and there is no vaccine to cure it. Those are the words from the United Nations.
Well, the UN has released a report today with a warning that drought could become the next global pandemic.
Nin ya pai kum kaktian u blai ba balai kan ka jingklut kala nang jur kat manang mi isni. Ngini puli na ka kitab Isaya kalnong kebasan pusau kadukot kebakat san bakat rio. Hang tu ka ong hakmi ila bani lumlang. Nrei om danga unu bailum lang persya ya pa kulon nomar jong pa hakmi ngala penlong yu kamar uba persut ya kading nga bat uba sei kitiar la kakam bat ngala tau ya unong penjot ban penjot manu kini ki ban ilum lang klem ublai kini kidai kisiem kapertai kinong sencar kiba ya selalang persya yu trai kumba ong ka kitab sam kalnong ka baar kat kor ka baar bat u haboko ku ong kini kilong ki bashar kai bat ki ba itiang ka jing bishar jong ki bat ka buram jong ki kimi naki hi baro kan ki awan kanang ya ka ban le jubor bat ki yaring mrau kat usyap haboko kalnong ka ba nungkong kat kot ba nyo bat ka ba khandai lungba ka UN kini ki siem mat kinong sensyar jong kane ka partai kila ya lumlang apok ka syatri jong ka UN berkila wanra ya kata ka climate change agenda ka bakat la jong UN pej kani ka simbol jong kani ka agenda kadon ya kani ka khaman ka bangila ru ban syam bakadon ha ka $1 note ka balong ka simbol jong kita ki Illuminati ki secret society kini ki siem mat kinong sensyar jong baro kiri kila ilum lang ha Paris perkila ya soiru ya kata ka baki ong ka Paris agreement ka agreement ka ban pendu ya ka jing nang ya kiu ka jing kluit jong ka partai oi kani ka jing tu jong ki kalong ka babha nrei selendat jong kani ka jing lum lang pat kadon ka ka ba ngimla ban syampang mat kambha hiru bangin ya tu lut hang ne ya kani ka plan ka jong ki gini ki sim mat kinong sensyar jong kani ka partai ki kwa ban pelong meraw yangi ki kwa ban control yangi bat ban wanra ya kata ka new world order mat adin ka jing no kensa ai ya kata ka bor sensyar jong ki ha utang meraklau kumbangi puli ha ka kitab jing pau kalnong ka bakat nyau kat kor ka bakat lai bat uni meraklau unsa kontrol baro u Thomas Free u ong he who control the weather he control the world.
He who controls the weather will control the world. That will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer. And he who controls the weather will control the world.
But Henry Kissinger ong control food and you control the people. Kumta kini ki he ki han ki badan hakabor ken sawanra ke jing Khadduh bam bashir kai ha kane ka partai kenang makin la mon control ka kitab jing pau kal nang ka ban riu khot basan ka itu lupa ba kan sadon ke jing Khadduh bam bashir kai ha kaneka pertai ya kaneka jing Khadduh ba masyarakat ingin sepat ka wipat ka video ba kumno ki laplan manwanra ya ka jing Khadduh ba ha kaneka pertai borok ka wai lang ba ki thma lang ba ki jingjia ki bajia ki ni Sngi kaneka heat wave ne ka jing khluj jong ka pertai kan sawanra ya ka jing terkhong bakrawa kaneka pertai kumta kan sakta ba ya ki jing tung jing tabat kan sawanra ya ka jing Khadduh bam ka ba syarkai ha kaneka pertai ngin ya puli biang na ka kitab Isayal nang basam saw ka dekot ka ba kan rio ka ba ongkum ni akmi ngala penlong yu kamar ba persut ya ka dinga bat ubasai ka tiar ya la ka kam bat ngala tau yu nong penjot ban penjot kai kini ka tiar ka ba dai ka tiar ban penjot ya kani ka pertai ki scientist menta ke la nuat ban kop bat kran ben wat yu blai ki ong ba menta ngila long kum ublai jong kani ka pertai ngidon kabor ban thau bat ban penjot.
We should get used to the idea that we are now basically the gods of planet Earth. We have now divine powers of creation and destruction.
Pai wong shushu ngi menta ngila iran kat bor bat ublai ngila don kabor kat ublai hi ban thau bat ban penjot.
Now humans are developing even bigger powers than ever before. We are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods.
Talking about climate change yesterday, and now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. I mean, lasers, really, to change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War. However, for floods, for agriculture, farmers, for people planning wedding parties, football games, you name it, outdoor events and agriculture and flooding and even hurricanes, all of them could be subject to weather modification.
Ka High Frequency Active Aurora Research Program lani ban shu ong lungkot ka HAARP lani ka hap kalong kawai ni ke atiar bala ban control ya ka weather na kani ka tiar kila ban le lut baro ban pa ya uslap ke eryong bat wat ban pa ya ujumairu ha kanu ka jaka ba ke kwa ban pa bet kandiat ya kani ka video ka ba malashim kandiat na kawai ka dokumentari syapang kani ka atiar kanang makan jirong ngin ya petang katu kani ki banta bala dapi kwa ban petlut ngan sabu ya ka ling.
What does HARP do? HARP is a large antenna where we beam radio frequency energy up into the upper atmosphere.
I've been studying this field for over 40 years, and HARP scares me because I know what it can do. I know that HARP can be used to control the human mind.
Using electromagnetic warfare against human beings, you can cause disease, you can cause hysteria, or you can cause passivity for population control.
In fact, geophysical warfare was becoming a more intense problem. In fact, they even speculated that terrorist organizations would have systems that could modify weather, create volcanic eruptions, or even cause earthquakes using electromagnetic waves.
In other words, they can create a massive discharge of lightning, bigger than anything we've ever seen on this planet.
There are a number of scientists like myself who are concerned about this, who are in fear of what HARP could do to the planet. Not only mind control, but weather changes, possible earth changes, earthquakes, things like that. And we all need to band together. We need to contact each other over the internet.
I have always asked that, and if anybody has a problem, come and let us see what the problem is. And if it's something we haven't addressed that we should have, of course we'll address it.
The problem with government and the people right now is that people don't trust the government, and they have good cause not to, because so many times over the years they've not told them the truth.
U.S. causes Haiti earthquake using weather warfare. It sounds like something you'd read on the front cover of a tabloid magazine, right next to pictures of a still alive Elvis and an alien, right? Well, it may not be as far-fetched as you think. Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez now blaming the United States for Haiti's earthquake, and conspiracy theorists are lining up behind him. Let's talk a little specifically about the HARP theory. HARP, as we know, stands for High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, and this is a research project between the Air Force and the Navy. Many believe that the testing done there can change weather patterns and even cause earthquakes.
Mat omdei tangkan eka atiar man pelong ikan eka pertai bakan kluj nrei kila penong kamro da kita ki chemistrial man spray ya ka Suiñbneng da kini ki airplane kanang bakan pen kluj ya kan eka pertai mat banonra ya kata kanam sniu ha kan eka pertai kanang man yo man control ya ki brio baik kendiat ya kan eka video.
Could a strange substance found by a Southwest Arkansas man be part of a government test? Well, that's the question at the heart of a phenomenon called chemtrails, now getting widespread attention.
Well, they say the government is dumping chemicals on us to control or manipulate the weather.
And they say the unusual-looking jet trails in the sky are actually chemical-laden chemtrails.
People say the government is up there in airplanes spraying all kinds of chemicals to change or manipulate the weather, leaving what you see there, and they call that a chemtrail.
Hoy kini ki scientist kila ban control ya kan eka pertai nrei klem ka jing yo jing bet na ublai lada ublai hi umsha kini ki atiar jong kini ki bomman kinom la ban le ai ha ka gospel kat kum u Matius kul nong ka ba persau ka ka ba nyo gu jisu uladap itu lupa ba akisi ba Khadduh shwa ka jing wan jong u kinja kinam sniu ba ki jing yap tam ki jing kunyu jumai ashibun ki jaka kumta kini ki si ki ba Khadduh kini ki nam snio kajing kloj jong ka pertai kajing shit kajing rang terkong kajing shili ki kajing kanyu jumai nang ni syakmat kinang ya jia kanang ban pendap ya ka ka ba ketin jong blai kala dap an ya tu lupa nrai ngi kum ki bangai ngi dei ban pan kre kanang bangin laj na uni u kamar uba pen shit ya ka ding renga ban pen shit terha ya ka ni ka pertai baladangi polis isu nang kitab jing pa ko nang ba khan riu Khadduh ka bapra angtu ko ong ba wangel un sathe ya kata ka pliang jing pitar ha ka sngi khanang ba kani ka sngi kan sho ya kani ka perthai da ka jing shit ha ka ban long ka jing shit ka ba ompat jujia ha ka history jong ka perthai ka jing shit ka ba umla shu ban batai nrei shwa ya kata ujisu unwan ban shau no shwa ya ki riu khu jong u ka ba long ka no le korim ka jong u berkitu ki ba shi ino kenap ban mat ya kata ka jing shit kaba 4 jujia ha ka pertai baru kawai